Yeah, so the heart of this team is really that we would get the chance to connect together, make connections for you around your parts of the world, your time zones. There'll come a point where whether we go bi-weekly with this and we go more regional in our ability to just coach out really your individual teams that you're also growing. We've been doing that with the Colazzos. We've been doing that with Michelle's team, and we'll happily come alongside you and serve as your own teams grow in any way, shape, or form. The system is scalable. And so we want to just keep highlighting that we definitely, as a downline now, are noticing the absolute benefit of the system that comes with the This Is It team. Those guys that you guys that are new to this, hi Angel, hi Holly. You guys that are new to this, really what we have in place is we're part of a team that is passionate about not only the technology, but really seeing people free in their health and free in their wealth. And so the This Is It team is very focused on that freedom of both in your life. And so we personally are loving coaching that out and reproducing that passion and diving deep into what that means for you and what you want to create either now or in your future. And there's also another great team called Quantum Field as well. So depending on where you come in and how you align, you're going to see our coaching really flow out of This Is It, but you also have access in this particular company to a few other incredible models and styles. So what we've done is we've created Level Up Facebook page. And on that Facebook page, we still have permission in Australia to have a public page. So the purpose of that page for you guys as a team is that you would be able to go onto that page, download some of those things that we're posting there, repost if you want. Basically, Level Up with LifeWave is going to support, on a promotional point of view, anything you guys want. So if someone's interested and you've shared it, they're going to come back to you. If someone comes to us and inquires, the very first thing we say is, do you already know a LifeWave distributor? We will always be about supporting our whole team, as opposed to thinking we just have to get direct sponsors ourselves. Although we do, they're not going to come from your contact. So we're going to empower you how to build and sponsor that way. So we have Level Up with LifeWave page as a public page, and then we have Level Up with LifeWave as a group. And that group's purpose is just a team. That's for us to be a team and to celebrate. And over in the Facebook page, if you can Level Up with LifeWave as a Facebook page, and then you are already, most of you, in Level Up with LifeWave group, I wanted you to just pull out your phones. This is the last 3 minutes we're going to do this, and Andrew's going to train. If you have access to your phones and you are on Facebook, I just want to get you to go to the Level Up with LifeWave group, and I want to show you where these chats are. And there's some confusion around what's a chat, what's an FB messenger. You know, we're going to be honest and say we don't know how long Facebook is going to allow these kind of conversations, particularly with this kind of technology. Sometimes it's going to shadow ban something, it might not. So in the background, both Steve and Gina with their own website, and then
I'd love to ask. Oh.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Someone asked a question? No? Okay, so we don't know how long we'll be able to do all this as a team on Facebook, and nor does Steve and Gina and some of the other teams. But for now, we're going to just really support our team via this. So if you go to the Level Up with LifeWave group, I've seen most of your names in that. And then over on the group, if you can see this, when you're in the global team group, you're going to see something called chat. If you want to press on chats there, you'll see all those different chats. So that's on the group page, and then you go to chats. what we've done there, just for the purpose of all the different kind of conversations that people want to know about, we're posting testimonies there because some people are saying they can't always find testimonies. I'll always be posting testimonies there. You can share in the testimonies chat. So all you have to do is go onto that chat. You're going to click, and I'll also be recording this and sending it. You go up to the top of that chat. And what you need to do so you start seeing it is you are going to go add to my chats list. Mine already is added, so it can say remove from chat list, but you want to add that chat to your chat list. And that way then, as you're on a pathway to manager, we're going to have specific things to say to you there, as opposed to once you become a manager and you're moving towards director, you sometimes ask different questions. There's also announcements, team announcements that will be there as well. And that's where Zooms will be, links will be as well for you. If you get a little overwhelmed with the amount of chats going on, you can mute them. There's no pressure on those. It's just that as the team's growing, rather than try and support every individual, we want the questions you're asking as a team. No question is a dumb question. They're all so helpful. If you're still trying to rank to manager and you've got a question around that, I want you to put it in the path to manager chat, because when you ask a question, someone else is going to learn from the answers that we give, and we're always going to push back to the system, but we do want you to ask questions. And so rather than just support every individual, there'll be a time where we move forward and we all do that together under path to manager and level up team announcements. So if you have any questions, just a minute for questions. Anyone got questions around that strategy for now?
Perfect.
Good. Lee has one. Just unmute.
Just a quick one. People that aren't necessarily building but sharing can go on the level up.
Such a great question. So the page, yes, level up page, just get them to like it, follow it, because they're going to see what you're doing. And then once someone comes in as gold or diamond and says, I'm ready to build, then this is where you'll get to introduce them and support them alongside us as well. So yeah,
Excellent.
it's a great question. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Perfect. All right. Any other questions? There'll be no dumb questions around that, because Facebook can be a bit overwhelming. To those that aren't on Facebook and are just on WhatsApp, we absolutely understand that some of you just aren't even on it, and we'll continue over in WhatsApp for now until we get to a point of just going, okay, let's even just get you a private Facebook group, just a private Facebook profile, just so at least you could be on that and be connecting with the team over there. So that is where we'll be, and we'll be supporting you guys that way. So, and then as you guys start your own groups like Stella and Angel, they have the ability to have one chat going just for their team, because there's a few things they're doing now just for their team individually, so they can create a chat still on the Level Up group page group, but they can do it themselves as the Colazo team, and Michelle will do it with hers, and you guys will have the ability to do that yourselves and kind of lead and manage your own teams. But if you want to do it as part of this group that we're in together, then we can really all just leverage some of the system that's going on. It's really helping us scale. So that's it. That's the technical part done.
That's
and
great.
then we want Andrew he's going to coach out today. And you guys are new. So some of you are new to this and won't have had a chance yet to do this voice assessment. And so we've got quite a few weeks. We're going to just coach this out. But we want to just talk today about a life and leadership way of profiling and understanding ourselves and others that we really believe is going to help you as you build this business and help a whole lot of people with their own health and their own wealth creation, if that's the track they want to head down. So
So let's get into it. Thank you for taking time for this, and I'm excited to share around this. I'm going to be sharing some thoughts around this concept. A lot of you have heard some of the original teaching around this and have done the assessment, and I really encourage you, if you haven't done the assessment, to do that. And I would really encourage you to spend the 49 US and do the profile of your personality type. For me, I find personalities fascinating. I find people so interesting. And I find it, even from my own personality type, a challenge on how I connect with certain people at times that I don't naturally connect with. And I almost make it a competition for myself on how I do that. And especially around when it comes to building relationships with purpose. I want to call today's teaching around the thought of finding your sales superpower. Finding your sales superpower. We're in the sales business. And to be true, no matter what you do, you're in sales. So I remember years ago, someone saying to me, when I was a pastor, many, many years ago, they're like, "You're so creative. I'm not creative." And I stopped them and I said, okay, then, and for those of you that have faith, that follow faith like Vanessa and I do, we believe that God, and the Bible says, is a creative God. So if we're made in his image and his likeness, like the scripture says, I turned to the person and challenged them. And I said, "Are you not made in the image and likeness of God?" And they were like, "Well, yeah, I am." And I said, "Well, if God is a creative God and you're made in his image and his likeness, you're creative as well. You just haven't found your creative superpower yet, because everybody's creative in different ways, with different nuances around what that creativity is. And it's the same as sales. As soon as you say, "I'm not into sales," you just boxed and limited yourself. We're always selling something. When I was single and when I met Vanessa and I was interested, I was selling a part of the ideal of who she could be with by dating me. When you are in product sales, in any relationship, we're always selling. The difference is what are we selling and how are we selling, and understanding this in our life. So I want to encourage, with a smile and challenge, anyone that says, "I'm not a salesperson," I want to challenge you to correct that and deep dive into how to find your way of how you sell what you want to bring to the world. Because we're all into sales. We're all selling something to be able to have impact, influence, and income. And so we need to find our sales superpower. What I believe and what I've seen over the years that I've been leading is that self-awareness is our greatest understanding when it comes to sales, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to the influence and impact we can have in the world. Our self-awareness is so crucial to understand, because when we understand ourselves, when we're understood, we can also understand. And when we understand, we can actually bring harmony to the relationships and the world that we live in. And that's why self-awareness is so important. I was with someone recently, a family member, and I love him to death. But he said to me, he goes, "Andrew, this is just who I am. This is the way I am. People like me or they don't, that I don't care. This is just the way it's going to be." And I didn't choose to fight him on it. I just thought, okay, that's the way you're choosing to do things. But I believe in growth. I believe I don't want to be the same person I was a year ago, even a month ago. I want to continue to grow and be the better and best person I can be to my family, to my friends, to the world. And self-awareness is all about that. James Thurber said, "Let us not look back in anger, nor forward in fear, but around in awareness." Stephen Covey.
Can we get people, if they've done their results already, to just change their name and say their name and then their profile?
We'd love that. If you could, in this moment, put next to your name what you're, and if you're a couple, you could, I don't know how you do it, but Vanessa, and then yours, and then somebody else.
You go up to the 3 dots on the right-hand side and it says rename. And so you can do your name, and those of you that done it. And I've tagged some of you again on the Facebook group page where the link to the free assessment is. Becky, great question. It's called Giant 5 Voices, and we use it in a lot of our leadership training that we do around the world with teams. Andrew.
Okay, so as you do that, I'll
Yep.
continue. Stephen Covey said a great quote. He said, every human has 4 endowments: self-awareness, conscience, independent will, and creative imagination. These give us the ultimate human freedom, the power to choose, to respond, and to change. So again, what is your sales superpower? I believe it's connected to understanding your personality type. Now, for some people, they see exploring personality types as a box. I see it completely different. I see it as helping people to take the lid off the box, to understand who they are, to be able to grow with tools to become the person that they want to be and are called to be, and to understand the people around them, because that's what life is all about, is connection and engagement. And so I find personalities fascinating. I believe understanding our personality type or leadership voice. So the 5 voices, and I want to start asking questions in a moment. We've given you, I think, a model around that, and maybe you could give the file around the 5 different voices. And of course, they're not, a personality type doesn't explain 100% who you are. But the way I see it is, if it can help me even 50 or 60%, it means I can engage and connect differently, more, I can strongly with that person than if I don't understand anything about them. Vanessa's going to share a story in just a moment. In one of our LifeWave sponsoring, as we're talking to some potential clients, how we both messed a few things up without profiling and understanding their type of personality and asking the right questions, because we went down roads that that we didn't need to go down. But as you've got your voice, and I encourage you to understand the other voices as well, and remembering that you're all 5 voices. So you carry all those voices, but you'll have your number 1 strength and then your number 2, which you predominantly rely on. Your 3rd is what you can access when you need to. Your 4th voice is the one that you think you're more proficient in than you actually are. Generally, we overcompensate, thinking we're better at that than we. It's the blind spot for us. And then our 5th voice is the greatest area of development. It's probably the one that we ignore the most, that we can grow in. And I find in life many times that particular voice is the one that ends up being around you a lot to actually help grow you, but also because they're a great counterbalance with the personality type that you are. Now, you've got people that are healthy, people that are unhealthy, and people that are in between, and you could be that any part of the day. But the more we understand our self-awareness and our voice, the greater we can actually lead in life, and especially in sales. Because when you understand your voice, and then the voice of the person that you're speaking to, you can engage at a different level. So before Vanessa shares just a story that we had last week, as we were sitting down pitching the whole business to somebody, and this is all around how we use this self-awareness and how we use our voices in sales, how we engage with people, and especially in this business, if we can see it from that perspective. What I would love to ask you is, and those of you that can just put your hand up and then speak, is why do you see self-awareness as important? Who likes to go first?
I'll go.
Please.
Yeah, Andrew, Vanessa, it's exactly what you said earlier about self-awareness. If you know yourself, which is the most important thing, you can interact with your surrounding environment. If you can be adaptable, you'll know your limits, so you'll know your strengths, and you'll work with your strengths and focus on developing those other limited portions. But I think it's universal self-awareness, and I don't think we I don't think I personally move too consciously into it. But since your last 2 weeks ago talk about leadership, I've been paying a little more attention about those areas I would like to develop.
Right.
That I'm not strong in. You want to hand it off to somebody else who can deal with it within our group.
Yeah.
And eventually those are the areas you get better at. And
So good.
It's great. And especially with intentionality, which is what I'm hearing from you, is that's something over the last couple of weeks that you're like, I want to grow in that area. Is that true?
Yeah, and it's still I want to grow into it. Grow into it. I don't even know what exists that I should be growing into at times. I don't know. It's a black forest, and you're just walking in blindly and navigating, feeling your way through, and exploring, and that's part of growth, right?
Totally. And I just think, how exciting.
Yeah.
How exciting is that?
I agree.
Who else? I'd love to hear someone else. Thank you, Garo.
Thank you, Andrew, Vanessa.
Kat.
I think self-awareness offers a couple things. It helps me to know how I can connect with people better. Like I can recognize myself in other people. It helps me to know where I can give, where my strengths are, and I can give in that area. And it helps me to know the people that I need to surround myself with in order for me to grow, because I have a weakness there or something I'm working on.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's really good.
Love that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Who else?
I'm going to pick up on what Garo said. It's more in line with identity. If you have a better sense of your identity, it will give you, I think, the freedom to interact with the most genuine portion of yourself, with those in your sphere of influence. It's interesting because having gone through that 5 Voices profile, one of the things that it intimates is that nurturers rarely value the contribution they make, which is an interesting dichotomy if you don't have a good self-awareness or a self-identity about who you are. So you're kind of left floundering. So I kind of get the analogy that Garo had about walking into a dark forest. But if you have an established sense of true identity and who you are, that could be the light that helps you guide the path into that dark forest. And you can then help others and help yourself.
I love that.
So good.
Great insight.
And that's one of the reasons I love this, because it helps to see those aspects about ourselves and then how we engage with others.
Another term for the 4th one in your own profile, if you have your results there, that blind spot, is actually just call it a shadow. And what I love about that word is, to your points that you're making, is it's just where light is, that actually you'll just see, like, you can only see shadow when you see light. So shadow is never a bad word. And weakness and these, things that feel like blind, as soon as light comes on them, it allows you to kind of realize, okay, that voice isn't natural in me. I thought I had more of it than I do. So I can just attend to that and tend to that part of me. So for example, I'm a connector. My blind spot is a nurturer, which would not look like to the outside person that nurture is my blind spot. But when you get close to me, some of those ways of a nurturer, that is to think through and to remember and to, connect at different deeper levels, that nurturer blind spot can be very disappointing to some people, because the connector looks like I would be a good nurturer. And so now, after doing this journey for the last few years, new relationships that are forming, I actually talk about that. I'll say, I know I come across like I'm super duper caring, but I don't remember details, and you'll have to remind me of things, right? So you say you're waving, Cheryl. So, but now you get to lead with that. You get to actually, and that's just that I'm not ashamed of that. And actually it provides greater connection, because I it stops people from being disappointed in me, right? So that has been a power, that's been a superpower for me, absolutely. So learning that for you, yeah, do you want to just for a second?
I was just going to say, both of us, nurturer is our the fifth one. So pray for us, because that is the one for both of us to grow in.
No, pray for our kids.
And pray for our kids. Thankfully, I think one of them is a nurturer that helps us with some of those things. But for you, I'd love to know, for those of you that did. So we have a question here.
Yeah,
So,
Rolando and Margarita have their hand up.
Hello, everyone. I think it's important when I'm working with Margaret and to be able to know what her strengths are and where my strengths lie. This allows us to work together where we are strong, but also compensate each other where we're not. So we could strategize together on how to approach a particular direction or a situation that we have. I think that that's really neat. You know, for Margaret and me, that's going to be an asset.
It is. What
is.
a joy. Can I just highlight, and this is going to happen every single time we're in a room together, that these guys just jumped in, like last week, actually, Margarita did, then told her husband, hey, look what we're doing. No. And and they're in New Jersey, and this is just fun. So we mentioned last week, just quickly, Andrew said, as you grow your own teams, because you're going to create managers around you, and that's what's going to move you, like, well, people that you're going to become a manager and then director in your own teams. As you do a few things locally, for example, in Jersey, or you end up with your own team, like we've got a few events we're putting on in person on the Gold Coast. We're beginning to talk this language with our team and saying, hey, that isn't as strong in me, but that voice is stronger in you. So when we're together, or when we're doing an event, or when we're doing something, listen, let's leverage not just relationship and marriage voices, but let's leverage each other's voices in those rooms we're going to be in together. So
exactly,
it's been exciting. Yeah.
That's great. So who else you would see, especially those of you that did the 5 voices? I know some of you have just jumped on recently, so we'll make sure that you get all of that, that you see as part of your superpower from what you learned from the 5 voices. And can I also say that with 5 voices, you at the end of the day choose what your voice is, because you know yourself better than anyone. But I would always encourage people to not, if they think it's a bit different, to not just choose who they want to be, but who they actually are, because then you can grow from that position. So what's some of your superpowers in the way that you, with your personality and self-awareness, engage and connect with others?
Cheryl, you want to speak for a second about, did you get to do the assessment? No, okay, not yet. That's
No,
fine.
I haven't done it yet, so that's why I'm looking at it and I'm like, no, stay present. Don't answer the question.
I did the assessment the first time, Vanessa, but
Yes.
the rest got. But I'll just repeat what we did 2 weeks ago. Initially they categorized me as a connector, and yeah, so I don't have too much detail, because apparently I need to do it again to get that extra bit you were talking about, Andrew. So I didn't get around to do it the second time around, but eventually today, tomorrow I will.
Yeah. Make sure you give some more information on it too.
You know, they give you a little profile as to each voice, what they are, and it was interesting, and I saw myself in some of it, and I didn't see myself in other aspects of it. So I'm trying to just, you know, pick through them. What do each item mean? So I'm exploring.
That's
great.
awesome.
No, that's the best.
That's,
Appreciate that.
yeah. Lee.
Lee.
Just something quickly. I did it this morning very briefly, very quickly, but I guess I've realized I'm a connector as well, and I echo what Vanessa's saying. I only got my first one. I may have missed the rest of them. I'm not sure, but I would guess my shadow is also nurturer. But I've realized that if, like, I can do an initial connecting, but if I'm not connecting further, that can feel like a problem for me, like if I'm not connecting. And so procrastination is my worst enemy because it stops me from connecting, which actually drives me and fuels me. So it kind of has really been helpful to realize that connection point is really important to me, and I need to push through into that at a deeper level while nurturing. Yeah.
Yeah. That-
So I just found it a key, because the negative of it is something that can actually drive and propel us into a place of success, right?
Yeah.
Does that make
Exactly.
sense? Yeah.
Perfect. I love it.
Yeah.
Colazo's.
Yeah, love it.
Hey, I did the assessment. I'm a guardian, so no surprise there. I love efficiency and order and structure.
Yeah.
But I will say that I've been embracing this shadow side, different parts of myself that I would always say that I'm not. So you're talking about being in sales. I saw myself as someone that would never do sales. I'm not a salesman. I would never do anything like that. And here I am with two businesses where I do sales. So it's, there's an opportunity here for growth and doing things that, you may have not seen yourself doing in the past. And there's a lot of room for growth. And how fun is it to see what you're capable of? So my encouragement is to embrace those shadow sides, because there might be some gold there, because now I feel like I'm really good at sales. I feel like I can do this now. So
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you. And where one thing, as you all begin to explore this, we're going to ask sometimes for your story to be recorded, because it's really important in this business that everyone realizes they don't have to be a certain personality to be successful at this. And so the more you can
100%.
understand, hey, I didn't think I oriented towards that natural extroverted type salesperson or whatever that is, then we want you to share that part of the story, not just the testimonies around the patch and what it's done for you, but what actually being in companies like this has also done for you in communities like this, because I think it gives everyone permission to go, me too. Like, wow, I've got a place in this story. I don't have to just be like the person that introduced me to the patch.
I agree. And I think what I love about this whole system is you can break the system. That's what I love about we're all 5 voices. So you can break the matrix. And I think we've all been taught so many times, especially in the 80s and 90s, into the new millennium, that if you have a personality type, you're this box. And what I love about the systems like this coming out is you can take the lid off and go, hang on, I want to get better in Guardian, because it's actually in me. And it's actually not something that, for me, I need to shy away from. It's a part of who I am, and I can lift the level on that while I'm still, doing well in the other areas. So I love that, Angel. And I just think the limiting beliefs that through culturally, family, and everything else that we've grown up with from many times good-hearted people that were just relaying what they had been told and heard their life, is that there is no limitations on the things that we can grow in. And so that's why I love this system. Now, if you could briefly share our story. We were it was one of probably the worst, what would you call it, that we were doing? Like, I call it a pitch, but what would you call it? Presentation, sorry, that we were having. And it was with 2 girls from two of my daughters' cafe restaurant that they work with. These 2 young girls, one of them I'd started to talk to and go, hey, she's traveling, we have a business, it would help you do amazing for your generation, blah blah blah. The other one jumped on board, that was working there, the owner of the restaurant, said, I want to come too. And then this girl's father came along. So we went to this cafe. First thing was, we went inside on a really hot day, and I'm still acclimating to the weather here. So I'm sweating like a trooper.
That's irrelevant to half this room.
I know, sorry. But it was just everything, the ambience, everything was terrible. the father comes in and we share the story. Why don't you share the pitch?
We'll just take the last 2 minutes of this, but it's a great example of what happens when we understand ourselves and start to understand others. So part of process, the girls had looked at the website, but the father hadn't. That's okay. That's going to happen for you guys. Sometimes you're going to end up in a conversation where they haven't looked at the website first. And so early on, we realized, okay, he's a guardian. He's come as a father, but also he's curious as a guardian. What I did once I figured out he might be a guardian is, rather than lean into that, there was a moment where he said, well, I'm going to need to dive under the bonnet and really just have a look at this. And instead of validating that voice, although we were like, yeah, that sounds good, then he said to his daughter, and until you know it inside and out, you probably won't be able to sell this. Well, I interrupted, and I didn't interrupt. Well, I did. A connector interrupts a lot. So I interrupted and I said, actually, I did something I'm learning. I said, can I offer another perspective to what you're sharing with your daughter? Is you actually don't need to know it inside out. But rather than validate that that's his point of view and that that's important for him and he thinks it might be important for her, rather than ask a question, I said, actually, you don't need to know it all. So much is just here that you only need to know a small amount, and then point people towards things like this website. Now, in that moment, because I didn't validate him first and that voice first, we felt a shutdown. And first of all, it came from an interruption. And secondly, it just didn't come from an acknowledgement of that worldview. And I didn't ask enough questions. And it really shifted the tone of the rest of the time together. Second thing we did wrong, we took an hour and a half. Don't ever take an hour and a half on this stuff. It doesn't need an hour and a half. People's energy started to wane a little bit. And I felt myself, I could feel that there was some defensiveness going on. And as a connector, I was trying to lean back into that relationship. But at that point, we just should have simply said, listen, go dive deep under the bonnet. Like, you're going to love what you discover under the bonnet of this, and validate it and echoed back words that he used. I'm not going to call him a guardian in that moment, but I'm going to know that's what a guardian needs to do, and that's okay. And what I should have done is actually pulled up the This Is It website, thisisitinfo.com, and said, actually scroll further than you've been yet on this website, and you'll see all the doctors talking. You'll see the patents. You'll see the scientific reports. So again, it's validating a voice if you have the chance to, without labeling them, and then pointing them to the system that is there. And that's the thing about thisisitinfo.com right now, is you can go high, you can go to like the high energy stuff, you can go to some deep dives, you can go to some people celebrations and some wins that are going on there. It's got everything that we are now realizing actually speaks to all 5 voices that are there. You just get to guide people around that website a little bit, rather than just shove the website in front of them as you start to profile them and get to know them. So that was our big learning lesson. Didn't partner with any of them yet, still in total relationship, see them every day down the road. And she's curious about it, maybe not as quickly as we thought she would be.
So the point is that when you understand other voices and becoming a profiler, so a leadership profiler, that when you're engaging and connecting and even asking some questions when you've learned how other people's personality types are, then as you ask them questions, you can understand predominantly where they may be coming from. Then when it comes to sharing a product, selling, you'll have a greater engagement when you understand them, asking the right questions, validating the things that you know that in general they're probably going to value. And so you turn your phone off. Okay. So that's the point of today's training, is the more that you can deep dive and understand yourself so that you can understand to be understood, then to me, life is open hands. And I even watch in conversations myself and others, do they have clenched fists or do they have open hands? Because body language is really important. When I see someone with a clenched fist, then I will try to turn the conversation around differently, because I want to be with people with open hands. And then for myself, when I can feel being defensive, anxious, whatever it might be, and my hands are beginning to clench, then that's self-awareness for me to start looking at, okay, in this moment, what do I need to now talk to myself about and engage in this relationship to be able to move forwards, because we want to have open hands. And so I hope this training has been helpful for you. Encourage you to find your leadership voice, find your superpower. And with that superpower, you'll have an even greater superpower when you understand others as well. And then sales, I just think, becomes something that's fun, exciting, challenging in a good way, and something that we understand is what we're built and created for. And then hopefully in doing that, we have great success. We have great impact, influence, and income. So hopefully that helps.
Love that. What about a comment or really an action step for you? You want to just start to write in the comments below, thinking this through, your self-awareness for the success of what you're desiring to create in your business. What's one action step from this training, from what you're learning, those of you that have done it, that you'd like to actually stay accountable? Just put it out there into the group chat, write something down. And we'd love to hear two voices on this. What's one action step, someone that hasn't shared yet, you'd like to take for your LifeWave business from this training?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Look, I think now that I understand my personality style, it gives me the ability to be able to adjust my style to suit whoever I'm speaking to. And it certainly makes it a lot easier when you get the results and you can read what your style is, and to be able to recognize other styles of personality in the people you're meeting, so that you do actually need to change your own style to suit.
Yeah. It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's I would encourage, I maybe need to have a big conversation. I don't think you need to necessarily change your style, because that's who you are, but learning on how to find common ground with who you are and who they are. Because I believe, like we're watching in world politics and everything at the moment, if leaders would just get in the room and find common ground, we'd have a much more harmonious world. And so for me, that's how I see any relationship is, okay, the challenge is they're challenging me. It could be on lots of different levels, or we have natural chemistry. What can I do to find that common ground? And some of that could even be explaining yourself to be understood, so that they understand where you're coming from. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that makes sense. I think it was more just adjusting my style if I need to, rather than changing who I am. Because I think at the end of the day, I am who I am. But occasionally, I mean, I've found, with dealing with certain type of people, I've had to adjust my style, just be able to suit and find that common ground where we can communicate more.
Yeah.
Right.
That makes, no, I appreciate that, the clarity, because I agree. The more you can understand them, the more you can engage with them.
So good.
I love that.
Yeah. And if Guardian does feel like it resonates with you, then leading this business and saying, listen, I typically need to do deeper dives, understand, what this is about. You get to speak someone else's language, or you get to say to them, you may not need to do that. Like, you could just feel that gut reaction to it. Like, connectors and pioneers often just feel a gut-led yes to something. And so it's just learning language. It's going to help people feel safe and known and understood, because sales is all about that type of trust, right? So amazing.
Are there descriptions that we can look at on that site that says what they are? The different, pioneers.
Yeah, So the link you got, actually, if you go into that link and follow the email that you get back from Giant, it's basically created you a free profile on the Giant website. And so you'll be able to see, like, there's a Guardian profile there. That's all what you're gonna get for free. But then you also will be able to see what's a connector profile, what's a nurturer profile. That's all. Follow Giant's links and you get access to all that already without paying.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the extra gives you the full.
Yeah, you get a bit of a deep dive into your orientations, growth areas, shadow kind of work.
And I think that's when it does the 5 voices.
Yeah.
Where you fit.
Okay, last person, just an action step you want to say out loud. Becky and Margarita and Rolando, I've just tagged you in Facebook with the link there, the assessment there.
Got it. Thank you.
Great. All right. Any last step you want to say out loud for this week around what you're creating in your business? You're good?
Can I ask one thing that you could write down if anyone feels comfortable in the last minute? One fear that you're going to face this week in this area of your business. So a fear that maybe you've been holding back from in doing, could be a person, could be a situation, circumstance. If you wouldn't mind writing that down for you, but if someone is happy in the last minute to go, this is straight up, this is the one that comes straight to mind, and I'm going to believe to overcome that this week. Is there anybody before we close?
Thanks for sharing in the comments.
Yeah, thank
Time
you.
constraint.
I'm going to jump in and say I'm going to do my best to follow up with the 16 people that gave me their details today that I shared, babbling about some patch, and I played the 2-minute video and I said, I can send you some information. So I have 16 email addresses and phone numbers.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Amazing.
That's awesome. Who else?
And Cheryl will jump on Sel and I like to support you, and we'll do it in Pathway to Manager when you have that many leads like that, those simple next steps for them, right? So
lead saying as a connector, need to push through and connecting, making physical calls over the phone. So I'll be honest with you, making physical calls is a challenge for me. Text and all that, no problem. Making physical calls, so that's one of my challenges this week as well.
Yeah.
Anyone last one? Anyone want to jump out? Okay.
Well, so we are grateful for your time today. This is recorded. There'll be a few of you that will share this with the team later on our YouTube. Listen, the training on Saturday that we posted in the Facebook group by Steve and Gina and her sister-in-law is 90 minutes. They do a training every week. But I'm telling you, it's so encouraging and inspiring to listen to someone that's been in the business. Oh, is that one only an hour? To have been in the business, I think they said, Stella, correct me, but it was 12 months for them, 18 months for Steve and Gina. This is really, really great for up here. It's really important to be exposed to the opportunity that is in our hands, and that once a week training is worth listening to wherever you can in your week. If you can't be on the North American time zone, Saturday, 1 p.m. If you can be on, I know Brad and Laura were on. Brad, just quickly as we go, you've been so encouraged by that training. Tell us one thing you learned by it.
It's a new perspective for, this is all new to me. Go back to what you guys were saying. I've never been in sales my entire life. I've never once sold one thing to anyone but besides yourself, but it's encouraging to find new avenues and new roles and new training. What have the other people have learned in their own adventures? Where can I take from them? It's just fun to listen to other people and how they've succeeded in their businesses. It's just fun to watch. So it's definitely encouraging. I've been doing this a week. I know I was some video and audio troubles to begin with. We've been doing this a week, my wife and I, and it's fun to really see where this goes. So it's exciting. We're ready to go.
Brad, we were in a team meeting with you, with Stella and Angel's team. you want to just share what you do for work?
So I've been in law enforcement for 18 years. So and before that I was an electrician. So it's all, all with my hands. That's kind of what my life has been. So sales is new to me. It's new of that fear of rejection, that stuttering, what do I say? It's that quick thinking you need to have. So that's all brand new. So, but yeah, law enforcement is my career path, and we're hoping this could end the law enforcement path. So we'll see.
Well, we're believing with you then.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, well, we want to honor all your time. Thanks for sharing. Just being witness to people's dreams and what they want to create in this is a big joy for us. And so you guys are amazing. We will be over on the Facebook team. If you're in Australia, there's a testimony night tonight. I'll send the link to you all. It's worth sharing. And you guys in the US and Canada, excuse my language, but Aussies, we're always known for like no BS. Okay, like the testimonies are raw. They're just in a way where you're like, okay, they don't feel as polished, but sometimes you might have people in your world and you want to send them a testimony video of all what's happening in Australia for people on the patches. So we'll always upload that link to your Facebook group as well, so that you can share that. Don't think because you're in North America you can't share the Aussie stories.
Share the wealth. We share the wealth. So it'd be good to, if you get a chance to jump on that. And just keep it an adventure. I know we have all, goals and everything around this, but like anything, if one doesn't work out, go to the next. Have a good laugh about it and move forwards. Honestly, this is your journey, your race. Have fun. We're all here, and week by week, let's just keep tracking it out. So we are honestly so blessed to be a part of it with you all.
Yeah.
Thanks
All
for your
right.
time. Much appreciated. Take care, folks.
Yeah. Amazing.
Guys,
See you.
God bless.
Bye.
Bye.
Till next time.
Bye.
Take care.
Yes.
Yes,
So
let's
lovely
celebrate.
to connect.